The weak revel in their aggression. The strong in their gentleness. Be more hard and less attack.
Good evening and a warm welcome to Big Budget Business, where we highlight the lives of prolific entrepreneurs that are making strides in their respective fields and also discuss pertinent issues that we face as young people in business. Now, today we're speaking to a gentleman who has multiple years of experience in Botswana's property sector, Mr. Umesh Loona. Mr. Loona, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy evening.
Yeah, happy evening. It's a pleasure having you here.
The big budget man.
Of course, of course. Now, before we get into it, let me remind our viewers that we are actually live. So please engage with us as much as possible. Please share with us your comments and questions so that they can be addressed. And as the show progresses, we will also share a number that you'll be able to call in and, of course, get answers to your questions. So, Mr. Loona, let me start by asking you about yourself as an individual. What is the background story behind Mr. Umesh Loona?
Okay. Story goes like this. I'm born in a very small town of India at the border of Pakistan, a place called Fazilka in 1977, and I came to Botswana in 1998. I'm born in a middle class family, and my reason of coming to Botswana, I had an uncle who came to Botswana in 1991, and then inspired me to come and launch myself in Botswana. And I came here after just doing my degree in commerce,
Oh, okay.
and then the journey begins.
That's where the journey begins.
Yes.
All right, so thank you for that backstory. So this is you fresh out of college with your degree,
Yeah.
and you land in Botswana. Now, tell us about Mr. Loona, the entrepreneur. Where did this love for business start, and how did you land in the business space?
So when you start your life, you start your life purely based on faith,
Yes,
belief, and trust in the God and trust yourself.
of course.
So I just came to Botswana with that faith and belief that I must just try and explore life here.
Yes.
And at that age you're actually starting your life from zero experience. And me coming to a new place, it was actually starting from zero,
Yes.
about knowing the marketplace, knowing the culture, knowing the business. So it was just the faith that I said, no, I must, try something in Botswana, because of a very simple reason that, when I came here, immediately I found a lot of similarities, because I born up in a city which had a population of 100,000 only, and I never liked metro cities.
Okay.
So I felt home that, it's a country with small population,
Yes.
you can balance your work and personal life. And that's what I said, no. And the people here were so friendly and lovely, and I just felt home. I never felt that I'm in a cloud nine.
Of course.
So then I just started my life journey here.
All right. So maybe from a business perspective, what was the first business that you got into
Yeah.
before property or anything?
Yeah. So like I said, I started my business journey just with faith.
Yes.
And then in my school time, I used to hate school.
Okay.
I never liked school because somehow somebody told me all billionaires are dropped out. So I said, why should we study?
Mhm.
Because you don't need to be studying for you to make it in business.
Okay.
So that was my belief when I started my journey as an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
And that time it was just the faith, you see. And
Yes.
then as I kept going, there was a time that I was by force put into a business
Okay.
which was a network marketing business.
Right.
I one day just got a call from my brother-in-law, who at that time was working for Microsoft at a very senior level.
Mhm.
And in our family, we regarded him that the most smartest guy,
Yeah.
because working for Microsoft in those days, that said this is the smart guy. And he just says, Mona, give me your credit card,
Mhm.
I'm going to swipe $3,000,
Wow.
make you a member. And I just kept quiet, because one is a smart guy, two is my brother-in-law, who can argue with the brother-in-law.
It's a bit
So
difficult.
it was a damage of $3,000, and then I just kept quiet. And then I'll go home every Christmas, and now the next Christmas comes, then he tell me what he did. He takes me to one event,
Mm.
where people are presenting business plan,
Yes.
and then he tells me, Mona, now you are the head of Botswana, you have to go and grow this business in Botswana.
In the deep
Then
end.
in the deep end, I said, Mona, I don't know how to even talk to anybody, I'm not a public speaker, my English was half, who is going to do this?
Mm.
But they motivated me. Then I came back, and now I start presenting the business plan.
Yes.
And network marketing by nature is a very hard business.
Mm.
And what they do, they put in a training
Yes.
embedded with the business plan.
Mhm.
So you have to get trained, and you have to train people. And then I was training myself, and I was training new recruits
Yes.
every day. Like this time, after hours, we have to meet, I have to
Mm.
present the presentation,
Wow.
I have to watch videos with people, I have to watch training material with people
Yes.
every day, every weekend. And funny enough, there were two books
Yes.
which were part of every presentation. One was Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Oh, yes.
and the second was The Secret.
Mhm.
I didn't even know. But slowly, those two books got into me.
Of course.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and The Secret.
That's Kiyosaki and Rhonda Byrne.
Yes.
Yeah. Two
So
very.
once those books starts getting inside me, you know, because first they go in your conscious mind,
Yes.
and then they start get into your subconscious mind.
Wow.
And then you go. After 1 year, I didn't like the network marketing business, because we were selling products which were not really people wanted. But because I was the team leader, I couldn't present other way,
Yes.
because now you expected to represent the company in the best possible way.
Mhm.
But after 1 year, I left that company, and then I went into my own meditation. I said, no man, this business has taught me how to do personal development,
Yes.
how to fall in love with yourself,
Mhm.
how to fall in love with learning.
Yes.
And those two books were inside me. And then I developed a pain that I need to apply what I learned in my life, but into a better business.
Okay.
And that's where my entrepreneurship journey began.
Wow.
And then I found that property can be that answer.
Yes.
And then I did a 1 year property investment course from Trump University at that time. Trump had just started that university, though we know it is a fake university, and he closed later on. But I was maybe in the first or second year batch.
Mhm.
So I spent, I think, around $27,000 in 2006, or, to learn about property investment.
Okay.
And that's what changed my life. And that's where my entrepreneurship journey began.
Wonderful. So maybe just a recap. In as much as you didn't like the network marketing business, but you would say that it helped develop some skills in you. Because I take it you said firstly that you were not necessarily a public speaker, but it helped you to develop that.
Yes.
And also it exposed you to different people
Mm.
of different backgrounds and the like that you had to sell to.
Yes.
So, and then also besides exposure and the interpersonal skills, you said there were books that had an impact on you.
Yes.
being The Secret, and of course, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yes.
But move on, as you now get into property and identify it as a viable investment. You said the first thing that you did was to invest in personal development before you actually got into it.
That's right.
So you feel that personal development is an important aspect?
I think everybody's life is all about you
Yes.
and what's in your head.
Yes.
So personal development is, fixing your own intellect, because I think the biggest GPRS you have is your own intellect.
Absolutely.
So if you don't help yourself, nobody will help you.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So personal development, even like since that time, I am in the school every day, every year.
Wow.
I keep doing something.
Really?
So it converted me from hating school to fall in love. Now I'm a
Exactly.
student of life.
A
I
student of
keep
life.
learning every day.
Absolutely.
Yes.
No, I think that's very important aspect. I mean, even as you may have faced a bit more successes than challenges in business, you still feel that it's important for us to develop personally. So I take it at home there we're listening to the importance of personal development. I forget who the writer is, but this person said that the knowledge that a man or, and of course, a man or a woman acquires is the one thing that will differentiate them from everybody else. So as we venture into businesses, as he is saying, it's important for us to ensure that we develop personally so that we can distinguish ourselves from our competitors. Mr. Loona, I would like us to speak now about Apex in general. Apex Hub, the businesses, its wide range of services.
Yeah. So basically, my main business is property.
Yes.
And within that property, we do property services and then property development investment.
Okay.
That's my real business, because that's where you can build wealth.
Okay.
And that's what, I was inspired when I read the Rich Dad Poor Dad. And that is my motivation, to build property portfolio over time. And then, what I learned from the book called Rich Dad Poor Dad is how to make money when you don't have a rich father. So one of the biggest challenge, is like I'm a first generation entrepreneur.
Okay.
I don't have a rich father.
Mhm.
I didn't get any, kickstart or a platform. I came to Botswana with almost nothing. I started from zero. So most of the people, who are first generation entrepreneurs and they are starting from zero,
Mhm.
the biggest challenge is what to do, what
Yes.
business to do,
Yes.
how to make your first million, how
Yes.
to get to that level, because that's majority of the people's pain.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's what I learned from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, how to make money by using other people's money
Right.
or other people's skill or
Yes.
other people's time.
Of course. And we say that in the most positive sense, of
Yes,
course,
yes,
that
yes.
not through exploitation per se, but rather seeing how you can capitalize
Yes.
on resources that you might not immediately have yourself.
Yes.
Absolutely. No, that's great. Maybe since what we usually do on the show is we ask people about impactful books that they've read. You've spoken about Rich Dad Poor Dad. Can you just give us a snippet of what you learned from The Secret? Just something small that you think people might want to know about The Secret.
So you see, it's Rich Dad Poor Dad. Is basically school of thought.
Of course.
So
Of
the
course.
poor dad says, "My son or my daughter, go to school so that you can get a good degree, because business, 98% people fail in business. It's the hardest part of it and the real part of life. 98% fail. So
Wow.
there's no guarantee that you'll make it business. So please study, get a good degree so that you can get a job."
Yes.
And the rich dad says, "Why should I go and work for someone?
Mhm.
So that you you can pass something to your
Yes.
next generation, so that your next generation, your children, don't have to go through what you went through."
Mm.
So that was my pain. When I graduated, when I became 21, most of my classmates who were not who were fortunate and had a good platform there from their parents, that day I said, no, I don't want my next generation to go through what I went through.
Yes.
My
Yes.
my children are not going to start from zero,
Of course.
and I have to make sure that I do something about that.
Mm.
So, what made a big impact in my life from that book was this punching line
Yes,
that you need to have a goal bigger than life.
of course.
You don't, one generation has to sacrifice for the next generation to benefit.
Wow.
So, you have to do something so that your next generation don't go through what you went through.
Yes.
So, that was my biggest lesson from the Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Mhm.
And the second book, which is The Secret, that talks about law of attraction. Law of attraction basically says that you are the architect of your own destiny.
Wow.
You
That's
can build
intense.
your life the way you want.
Of course.
And we always read this about such things.
Self-help.
And like, especially, like where I come from, my background, in our Indian culture or our religious books or our, history, it talks about two school of thought.
Yes.
One, it's about your luck and your destiny,
Mhm.
and second is about your karmas.
Yes.
So, we always get confused in life
Mhm.
that is life driven by luck or is driven by karmas.
Yes.
I was always confused.
Karma in this sense would be sort of cause and effect.
Karma is your actions. You
Okay.
see? So, like, you are the architect of your own destiny. Whatever
Yes.
effort you put, your output is going to be aligned to that.
Absolutely.
So that's like
Absolutely.
your own deeds and your doers. Like
And
you're
what
doing
returns
yes.
from that.
So whatever seeds you're planting, you're going to harvest that.
Absolutely.
If you plant
Absolutely.
a mango, you will get mango. If you
You can't
plant a
get lemon.
lemon, you will get a lemon.
Of
You see?
course.
So that's karma theory.
Wow.
But we always get confused about luck, destiny,
Mhm.
and karmas.
Yes.
So this book helped me to understand, two different school of thoughts.
Yes.
The Secret talks about law of attraction, meaning karmas are more stronger
Yes.
than luck.
Wow. Wow. So really my actions will yield some effect
Yes.
on and a return actually.
Yes.
All right. No, that's
So like just to relate, like if you are
Mm.
born in a, if you are not born rich or if you are born in a poor family,
Mhm.
it's not your mistake.
Absolutely. You
But
didn't
if you
choose
die
that.
poor, it's your mistake.
I like I like that. Thank you. Yes, I think you heard that.
Yes.
If you die poor,
That's your
chances are it's
mistake.
your mistake.
Yes.
Wow, no,
You can't blame
that's great.
anybody for that.
Because we are put here, we've got the abilities
Yes.
to do as
Yes.
much as possible
Yes.
to better and improve our lives.
Yes.
And that's what we try to do with the show. It's to encourage people to venture into business because this could be a means for you to progress and improve your life. Let me remind the viewers once again, before we start talking about the meat of the matter being property and how you can mix that with your business or as an individual, we are live. Please keep your comments and questions coming. We will also share a number that you can call into to get some answers to some of your questions. I can see here we have Lupa Bonalo Francis Sosa, who says reading and introspection leads to self-discovery. So I see there's someone that agrees to what you've been saying here. And then we have just one quick question from Joey Mutibi. He says, good evening, Big Budget, and your inspirational guest, Mr. Umesh Loona. First things first, thanks for sharing that eye-opening story of how you started. Now, I've known Apex Property for some time, and I recall the campaign slogan you had where it read, "We sell fat cakes." I'm sure a lot of us have seen that one. And went on to end as, well, we don't really sell fat cakes, but we sell properties so fast, it's almost like we're selling fat cakes. And then he says, I felt then that you had revolutionized the art of selling property, especially at that time. My question is, what word of advice would you give first-time property investors? What should they look for when investing in property, and what should they avoid? It's funny, it's like Joey read my mind here. Thank you for that. He's asking, first-time property owner, what should I look for and what should I avoid?
So, the problem in life, is our deep level intentions.
Okay, deep level intentions.
So we do, like you'll see in one class, there are 30 students.
Yes.
They have the same environment, same lecturer, but they all become 30 different products.
Wow. Wow.
Now, what makes them different?
Mhm.
It's not the environment, it's their own intentions, deep level.
Wow.
So when you go into property investment, you have to know your deep level intentions. Why are you going into property?
Okay.
What is the significance behind it?
Okay.
What is that you want to achieve? Because that will help you to eliminate your overlaps in your thought process.
Right. We're getting deep with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see, property satisfy different needs.
Yes.
You know, like this is a property.
Of course.
It provides you a shelter.
Yes.
It's a basic human need. Everybody needs a property,
of course,
for a shelter.
Certainly.
But then property is also an asset class.
Mm-hmm.
So now asset class meaning you can invest and get a return.
Absolutely.
But now every investor is got different intentions. Why is he putting money in property? Some people will put money in property because they have spare money. They don't know what to do with it. So they are saying, why should I leave my money in the bank? Let me rather put in property.
Okay.
So their intention is very simple. They don't want to leave money in the bank. They just want to park it somewhere.
Of course.
So they'll go and buy a property, based on that intention.
Yes.
And the next guy will say, no, where should I put money? I don't have enough money, but should I put money in stocks? Should I put money in BSB saving plan? Or should I put money in property?
Yes.
Because he's going to compare, if I put money in stocks, Botswana Stock Exchange, what is an average dividend? BSB, what is an average interest? And then you'll say, okay, no, BSB is giving me 4%. Botswana Stock Exchange, maybe dividends are 4, 5, 6%. If I get 5, 6% in property, I'm fine. Maybe I'll get a capital gain.
Of course.
So, their intentions are just get an average return.
Yes.
But guy like me, I didn't go into property to get an average return.
Okay.
Because I never had free money. I don't have free money.
Okay.
Because, I started from zero.
So you didn't have any startup capital?
I didn't have any startup capital.
Wow.
So I go to the bank and I borrow the money. But bank doesn't give me money for free.
Of course. There's a cost.
Bank is charging me, interest.
Yeah.
So this money is coming at a cost.
Yes.
So if I go and borrow at 10%, it's like horse racing. If I go and put money in a property, which horse should I put? The one which will give me 10% or 8% or 15%?
And also in terms of the speed of return, if
you
like
of the return
to horses,
yes,
are you also getting a return as fast as the fastest horse, in the sense that is it bringing you a return faster than the cost of having to pay?
Yes. So you see, then I have to put money which will own a asset, own an investment vehicle, which will give me return more than my cost of capital.
Yes.
Which is the debt.
Of course.
So I go into property for that intention. So I don't compare myself with somebody with free money.
Yes.
Or somebody, comparing with stocks or interest. My reasons are different.
Absolutely.
So, so to answer that, it's all about your deep level intentions.
Thank you for that. I want us to talk about also when, as people that want to invest in property, there's this issue of perceived value versus real value.
Yes.
Can we touch on that a bit? Because for me, maybe as an investor, I'd like to understand those terms before I get into property.
So you see, like I was telling you, when I started my career, I started on faith, on belief. So when you start your life, you believe in faith, you believe in magic, you believe in luck.
Yeah.
You see, but as you grow, you experience life. You start to appreciate there's a science behind it. Life is not all about luck. Life is not all about magic. There's also a science.
Okay.
Because we are all part of an economic activity. We are part of an economy.
Yes.
An economy is run on a science.
Yes. With peaks and troughs, recessions.
Yes. So there's a science behind it.
Okay.
So, as I walked my journey of entrepreneurship, I started to appreciate it's magic plus science. But when your experience is less, you put more magic, emotions, your feelings.
Oh, yes.
Science is little. Yeah. But as you keep growing and your experiences grows, now you put more science, less magic.
Yes.
less emotions.
Science maybe in the sense of what? Ensuring that you research, ensuring that you understand what you're getting into. Is that what you mean?
So, from your question,
Mhm.
real value, perceived value.
Yes.
Perceived value is magic.
Mhm. Mhm.
Real value is science.
Okay. Okay. Mhm. So to put this in sort of a practical term,
Yes.
I might want to invest in a place maybe that is not as um, busy, or where there isn't much, what can we call it, urban migration, for instance, where there isn't much of an influx of people coming in, which might mean that there'd be a higher demand for property, right? So I might want to end up, because I perceive that, okay, no, maybe um, um, let me say Mulapwa Bojang is a place where people will go, because I'm just perceiving that. Whereas it's not the reality. The real value might be here in Gaborone. I wanted us to understand it from that perspective.
So, from an economics point of view, business runs on one principle:
Yes.
demand and supply.
Lovely. Lovely. Lovely.
Demand and supply.
Mm.
Demand and supply.
Yes.
Where demand is more,
Mhm.
supply is less,
Yes.
there's value.
Aha. So I must think of that when I invest in my property.
Yes. So you can't put money where demand is not going to grow,
Absolutely.
because then oversupply will kill you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
what brings growth is demand.
Yes.
What destroys growth is an oversupply.
Yes. Yes. Mm.
So if you look at from a Botswana perspective, as a country, we have one of the biggest challenge. We don't have population growth. So with that, where will the growth come? And that's where, what you mentioned, urban migration. So as much as we don't have growth of population in Botswana,
Yes.
urban migration is happening, but it's only happening in GC, Cabroni.
That's the reality of the
Yes.
situation.
So, if you look at our population index, 60% of our population is within 60 kilometer of Cabroni.
Wow.
So 1.2 people are living in greater Cabroni.
So from a population density perspective,
Yes.
we are sort of encompassed within this zone.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because the opportunities, either whether it is for job, for business, for learning,
Yes.
for medical,
Mhm. There you
everything is happening here.
Wow.
So that's where the demand comes.
Mhm.
Yes.
So it would be wiser to look at such issues and say, okay, which are the places that have a sort of high demand,
Yes.
and then see if you can slot yourself with a property over there.
Yes. But it also now varies in different asset class.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
within property there are many asset class,
Okay.
whether it is residential,
Yes.
commercial, industrial, tourism, farming,
Let's get into
you
that
know.
just a little bit.
Yes.
Mhm.
So like I'm saying, it's different asset classes, like the way home residential property behaves,
Yeah.
it's different than the way commercial property behaves.
Of course.
Then the way industrial, the way farm, which is agriculture, the way tourism, these
Yes.
are different asset classes.
Mm.
So if you look at our tourism, majority of our tourism in Cabroni is business tourism.
Okay.
But if you go to the Delta, it's lifestyle, luxury tourism.
Wow.
It's chalk and cheese.
Yeah, of course.
So you have to also know different asset classes.
Wow. Wow. So I think we're taking it at home that it's important for us to understand and research the type of property that we'd like to invest in, because we're not necessarily limited to buying a house for residential purposes. We could look at getting office space. We could look at perhaps, like he's saying, getting into agriculture, or at least purchasing that land which will be tilled. Mr. Loona, let me take you to one more question here, where it says, as young people, we tend to feel that for us to invest in property, we need to have substantial amounts of money. We need to have a lot of big money. Is it possible for us to get into it with the little that we have?
So like I said, I started from nothing. I
Yes.
started my property investment portfolio from almost nothing.
Yes.
So, but the first thing you have to know is that you have to invest on personal development.
Of course.
You have to develop yourself where you can offer your services
Yes.
for making some money.
Of course.
once you get into some income level, then even banks will like your track record, and they will even offer you money,
Of course.
because so when I did my property investment course from Trump University, what I found was very, very unique and similar between property market in America and Botswana. In America, you can get a home loan where banks will finance you 100%. That's where that subprime story came in. And at that time, when I was starting my property investment business in Botswana, banks will finance you 100% to buy your property.
Yes.
Even today, Botswana is the only country in whole of Africa where you can get a loan 100% to get your first property.
Yes.
So it's a very, very unique and opportunity. I think we are the only country in Africa, and we are fortunate where you can get this.
But I think you mentioned something there. You said you started with nothing, but you had to get yourself to a certain income level where the bank would actually consider your credit worthiness.
Yes.
Let's get into that. Maybe for me, if I'm employed in an organization, but I'm earning quite a fairly small amount, maybe if I'm earning 3,000 Pula a month.
Yes.
How can I work on getting to that income level? Does this tie back to the issue of personal development?
Yes.
Okay.
So you see, like there's something called a wealth triangle, okay?
Okay.
Which that tells you what are the key pillars you need for you to create wealth.
Wealth triangle.
Yeah.
All right.
And the first one is like personal development, meaning
Yes.
if you are getting 3,000 today,
Okay.
or if you are getting 5 or 10 to 15% of your income
Yes.
should go into your personal development.
Oh, wow. 10 to 15% of your income.
So if you are getting 3,000 today in 2020, there's no how in 2021 you should target to get the same amount.
Absolutely. We need to grow.
Yes, but you can only grow if you invest on yourself, on personal development. You must go and upskill yourself.
Okay.
Do some course, bring some skill.
Yes.
Like evening classes. Do some these days. Even online, you can do so much.
Of course.
Where you will upskill yourself, and then that brings you that extra income.
Yes.
And then after building that, you don't even need to go to the bank. In Botswana, banks are after you.
They'll call you.
They'll even come to your house, Mona. What's going on? Why you're not taking money?
Absolutely. All right. So I think, like we're saying, if we still are in a spot where our funds are fairly low, let's try and upskill ourselves so that we get ourselves to a level where banks can start considering us. Thank you for that. Now we have a comment here from Keith Tafadzwa Kanengoni, who says, while how we are born and where isn't our choice, how we live and die is our choice. This ties back to you about the poverty issue. No, that's good. It's great to see that people are agreeing. Thank you for that, Keith. Now we have Noma Googs here, and Noma Googs' question is, thank you all. My question to the entrepreneur is, if he was not in the property industry, which other one would he have chosen? What do you think would have been your plan B?
So, you have to appreciate that we are living in a capitalism world.
Okay.
Capitalism world is also, there's a science behind it.
Okay.
It's not magic. In capitalism, money makes money.
Of course.
Okay. And when I learned in capitalism, the most important organ or machinery is the banks.
Okay.
Because if you have to go and use other people's money to make money, the only people you can go and ask for money is the banks.
That's true.
Now, it means your business model has to be aligned with the banking industry.
Wow. Align your business with the banking industry.
Yes.
Okay.
So when I studied that, like if you look at it, if you go and ask for a bank loan, no bank will give you money without security.
Okay.
because banks are in the business of lending money, but without taking any risk,
Of course.
because they are not in the they are also in the business of making money.
For themselves. Yeah.
So they are not going to give you money if you are going to go and have adventurous with their money.
Oh, yes.
They have to be sure also about their return.
Mhm.
So banks only get comfort when there's a security, and what brings that security is property. So there's no how you can start a business without having something solid which is aligned with your own market banking sector.
Okay. Okay.
So in Botswana perspective,
Mhm.
I don't think it's gonna be easy for anybody to grow and make money without getting an help of a bank.
Okay. Okay.
And bank will not help you if you
Mhm.
don't have security.
Okay.
So it's the only answer which I saw at that time.
It was only property.
Only property.
Wow. Wow. So in a sense, your first was able to secure your second and third, and it became a trail.
So property is just like I'm sure you've heard about this story of the chicken with the golden eggs.
Oh, okay.
So
Tell us a bit
property
about
is the
that.
same. Once you have the right property, it will give you golden eggs,
Golden eggs.
which is the rent.
So in a sense, for you, it was all guns blazing into that business. Property, property, property.
Property, property, property.
Wow. Because a lot of the time, people are encouraged, if you're in business, to diversify and the like. But there are also success stories where people focused on that one thing and that thing worked for them. So for you, like you say, it was property, property, property.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you for that. Let me remind you once again, we're live. Keep those comments and questions coming so that you can get a few nuggets of wisdom from Mr. Loona here. Also, for those who'd like to call in, I'm sure the number has been displayed on the screen. Please do feel free to call in, ask your questions whilst we still have Mr. Loona here with us. And we're talking property and, of course, his story and background as an entrepreneur. Let me get into something important that you spoke about, because my next question to you was going to be, what is your motivation? What would you say is your why? And you also spoke a bit about faith. What would you say inspires you or is your why? What drives you?
You know, what drives me is a goal
Mhm.
which is bigger than life.
A goal bigger than life.
I don't want my next generation to start where I started.
Wow. Wow.
So that's my motivation every day, that no, I have to build the right foundation for my next generation.
So,
Because I felt the pain when you are 21
oh, yes.
and you have to launch yourself in a doggy eat world.
Yes.
And these
yes.
capitalist niggas want to eat you alive.
To go chika onyani.
It's
Absolutely.
painful.
It's painful. No, and so it's a difficult world, as you
Yes,
say.
yes.
But your goal needs to be bigger
Yes,
than life,
yes,
right?
yes.
In the sense that for you, you are trying to build generational wealth,
Yeah,
of course, so
yeah.
that so let's try and build generational wealth so that our future generations don't have to go through what we have gone through. Now, we'll also talk about your besides your businesses, would you say that there are community or social initiatives that you are involved in? Do you do any community development work? Is there anything outside of your business that you do?
Yes, we all do our own share of community development or CSR.
Yes, of
You
course.
know,
Of
for
course.
for me, the biggest one has been the mentorship program, and
Mhm.
even like show like this, because I personally believe that if you give somebody a fish, it will only last you for that moment. But if
Mhm.
you teach somebody how to fish,
Wow.
that will make a bigger difference.
Mhm.
So if you look at from a Botswana perspective, that we have lot of young people craving for launching themselves, seeing their growth,
Yes.
and they are struggling to get the tactics right.
Mhm.
So I think experience sharing, mentorship
Yes.
for me has been the biggest my passion,
Mhm.
and that is what I do, and I will continue to do.
Oh, that's great. So
Yes.
you're imparting knowledge
Yes.
to help others.
Yes.
All right. No, that's great. And then maybe let's get into what your biggest challenge has been so far. What would you say was your biggest challenge?
I think my biggest challenge is, like everything life is all about within you.
Yes.
So your challenges are also within you,
Wow.
because you
Wow.
keep evolving every day, and
Mhm.
life is happening to you. So every day is different. So my biggest challenge is, it's just like anybody's challenge, that, for you to cope up with life every day,
Yes.
so that's my biggest challenge, that,
Mhm.
the if you look at from an average mindset point of view, they say, life is not fair, they say, you're born virgin, but nobody dies virgin, life screws you. So life itself is a hard thing, it doesn't spare anybody.
That's very funny.
Everybody has to pay its fair price.
Right. No, that's
So
true.
including myself, I pay my fair price.
Yes.
So my bigger challenge is just, but end of the day, it's fun,
Mm. Mhm.
because life is all about ups and downs,
Yes.
and you have to love them.
Of course.
Yes,
Mm.
yes, yes.
No, that's great. And I like how you spoke about the issue of sometimes our challenge being between our ears,
Yes,
being ourselves, right?
yes,
And
yes.
how we need to constantly evolve. One of my mentors said to me recently that, there are two entities within me, right? We have the better man and the weaker man. And the weaker man is trying his best for me not to evolve on a daily basis.
Mm.
Because for the weaker man, his focus is simply survival. He's not educated enough for him to try out new things and take risks and try to evolve and change and grow. Whereas the stronger man is actually for that. So I choose between those two entities which one dominates. And it's a daily practice because it's easy for me to slip back into complacency and then become the weaker person. Yet I have a stronger entity within me too. Right.
Yeah.
Mr. Luna, it's been a great show. Let me thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
We really appreciate having had you here. And before we go, can you just let us know how people can access you or the property related services that Apex offers?
No, I think it's just to basically call us, dial, visit us, email us,
Okay.
you know. That's why we are here to share our experience.
Of course. Of
Yes,
course. And we
yes,
will share the links once the video is done so
yeah,
that people can visit your sites.
yes.
Mr. Luna, let me thank you so much once again for being here.
Thank you so much,
It's
Big Budget.
Oh, thank you very
All the
much.
best.
Right. So before we get into our 2 minute tip, let's go for a quick commercial. We will be right back. Stay right there. Um, do we have a call? We actually have a call. All right.
Yes,
So, yeah, wow, that's great. Thank you so
yes.
much for calling in. Let's hear who our caller might be.
My name is Jonny. I just wanted to ask Mr. Andina on that. Looking at the investing in property, let's say I get a loan from the bank around 400,000 or half a million, 500,000, build a house. Am I clear?
Hi, yes. Can we just ask you once again to speak a little bit louder? State your name and then your question again, please. Just a little bit
Yes.
louder.
My name is Danny. I wanted to just ask Mr. The gentleman there
Yes.
about the return on investment on property.
Okay.
That how did he manage to uh, come up with a business model that can benefit him? Looking at the return on investment, maybe I take half a million from the bank and then I build a house, and then the house pays me around 5,000 every month. You see, the return on investment on property leasing, especially residential, how did he manage to come up with a model that benefited him to be the man he is today?
Yeah, so see, like you have to first know your cost of debt. If you are borrowing half a million, what interest rate are you paying? Because interest rate differs for everybody. If you are a
Yeah.
government employee, the Jambas will give you at prime, which is the cheapest. If you are a parastatal, there'll be housing schemes, it will be different. If somebody is like me, it will be different. So you need to know your interest rate, and then you have to know the asset class, which asset class to go in, which will be able to give you better return than what you're investing in. because just buying a house is not property investment, because that's lifestyle. Property investment is only when it gives you return. House doesn't give you return.
Hi, Mr. Denny. Has your question been answered?
Yes, I got him. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you so much for calling in. All right. Well, that's great. We had a caller there today. As I was just about to say,
There's another one.
do we have another call? We do? All right.
Yeah, let's go.
No problem. you're fired
I'm
up.
enjoying.
He's
Yes,
enjoying.
we
No,
must
it's
go,
great.
man.
I told you would enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's big budget business. That's what we do.
Yes. Let's help people increase their budget.
Of course. Is it fine? Oh, okay. So let's go for a quick commercial before our 2-minute tip. We will be right back.
ZebraNet Fiber to the Home offers high dedicated speeds ranging from 5 megabytes per second to 100 megabytes per second. Why stay up at night to get better speed? Subscribe to our FTTH packages, offering each member of the family the flexibility to simultaneously surf, stream, and download all at the same time. Where there is internet, there is ZebraNet.
Right. So before we get into our 2-minute tip, Mr. Loona here has decided to sponsor today's 2-minute tip by first talking a bit about solar. What would you like us to know about solar?
So you see, like I'm always, having a quest to learn from life,
Okay.
and always looking to learn new business models where you'll be able to beat the cost of your debt. Like the gentleman was asking,
Yes.
if he's borrowing money, how do you make sure that your returns are more than the cost of debt? So, it means you always have to keep evolving and learning where you can find that, that little margin.
Yes, of course.
So, from out of the same quest, if you look at the new gold, the new gold,
Yes.
it's green gold, which is green energy, renewable energy. So solar is a new thing.
Okay.
Actually, BPC or the Ministry of Energy has just announced today a net metering.
Today, yes.
Meaning you can put rooftop solar at your house.
Wow.
And you can sell power to BPC. And they are going to pay you 81 thebe per watt.
Okay.
So it means with that investment, you can actually get a return.
Yes.
So you don't even need to buy a real estate. If you own a real estate, you just have to invest on solar and get a new income stream added in your life.
Wow. So that's great.
Yes. So this, the world is evolving every day, and you have to keep evolving every day.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So there's a new asset class, which has just been launched today.
Wow.
It's just a coincidence.
Right. So young people in business out there, let's see how we can get into the solar asset class. Thank you so much, Mr. Loona. Right.
You.
So our 2-minute tip for today, we're going to talk to you a bit about essential networking skills. I'm sure a lot of you have heard people say that your network is your net worth. And a lot of people also agree that it's not necessarily about your ability to establish a network, but it's also about you being able to extract value from that network and also to be of value to the people that are in your network. So when we undertake this networking, let's first ensure that we show up. By showing up, we mean that when you are networking with people, be fully present, be fully available, and speak directly to this individual, because people can tell when you've lost track of thought and you're no longer concentrating on them. Number 2, listen up. when you're networking, it's important for us to be able to develop the skill to catch the key concepts or important aspects that the other individual is talking about, so we know what they're about and what their business is about. And after listening up, it's important to step up. Nobody is discounting the importance of you establishing a network with people with similar likenesses or similar skills to you, but it's also important to network above your level so that you can meet people with more experience who can serve as guides and mentors. And lastly, after stepping up, it's important to speak up. When you're networking, be sure that you understand and know fully what you and your business are about so that you can market your products and services with confidence. So once again, when we undertake our networking, it's important for us to step up, show up, speak up, and listen up. Okay.
I want to add something.
Oh, of course.
So, from networking, they say you are average of 5 people you spend your time with.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And in the capitalism world, like I said, what is most important to know
Yes.
is the guy with big budget and with big money.
Oh, yes.
Big money is people with money, meaning
Yes.
the banks.
Of course.
So in my close circle, there's always bank managers.
Oh,
Because if
nice.
you don't know how the money world works,
Mhm.
you will never master it.
Wow.
You will never break it.
Wow.
So from my point of view, always have bank managers in your close friend circle.
Nice.
Always have a property investor in your close circle.
You're close now.
Yes. So also choose your 5 people because
Yes.
you're going to become an average of those 5 people.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you.
So once again, thank you so much for that, Mr. Loona. Once again, in your network, ensure that there are those 5 that are very important, and those are people that, of course, you can yield value from. Now, it's been quite a long and interesting show. Thank you so much, Mr. Loona. And for you at home, thank you so much for tuning in. From me, Big Budget, and the team, it's good night and God bless. And always remember that you were born for so much more. See you next week.
Thank you.
They say a baobab is a tree of life. Some people believe that if you pick a flower from a baobab tree, you will be eaten by a lion. But we believe that when you touch it, it gives you life. Our greatest gratitude to the amazing team, and most importantly to you for trusting us with bringing your vision to life. We are Moana Pictures. We are Team Fearless.